as every day passes in relation to this Seanad by-election and the appointment of Mr. McNulty, you can shake your head all you want. This, no, it's
Without interruption, please.
I think everyone here, and I think if you ask yourself honestly, just one question: has this been handled well by the government? I think everyone would agree that it has not. Okay, leave politics out of it. But as every day follows, we get more and more information in relation to this. I do have a couple of questions in this regard. I heard the Taoiseach's interview from America, which basically, when you look into what he said, was effectively he's the Taoiseach, he's the leader, and he'll do whatever he wants. Okay? He'd no regard for this Senate at all. That's why he proposed to abolish it. He tried to undermine a democratic decision before on the selection of candidates for the banking inquiry. He tried to undermine that. He tried to force through a vote. He tried to change. He himself interfered in the process here. There are questions serious questions that remain unanswered. What the Taoiseach and Fine Gael are doing in relation to ensuring that Mr. McNulty's candidature is valid is genuinely, it's a stroke of unprecedented and unparalleled in any time that I've seen it. Any time, at all. What you're doing is, you're appointing an individual to the board of IMMA who won't even serve on it. Who won't even serve on it because his qualifications did not match and would not stand up to scrutiny. Now, worse than that is, I put it to you that your candidate and your party, and I say Fine Gael in this regard, actually misinformed and misled the Seanad committee himself by his omission of the fact that he had only been appointed a number of days earlier to the IMMA board on a temporary basis. Now, when another candidate lodged a challenge to that, he withdrew that challenge, Mr. Crockwell, on the basis that he saw from the Taoiseach a nomination paper that stated that this individual, Mr. McNulty, was actually a member of the IMMA board. In no time during that meeting did Mr. McNulty or his election agent actually say, well, by the way, I was only appointed 3 days before, and I haven't met and I haven't served on the board. Right. And that's why Mr. Crockwell withdrew his challenge. And what I want to know is, did the High Court judge who presided over this, was that information available to the High Court judge who actually looked at the applications for the nomination? Did the High Court judge know that this individual was only appointed to the board a matter of days previously?
Unlikely.
What I'd also like to know, further than that, is why the IMMA board themselves weren't even advised of this appointment, and really importantly, has the board of IMMA actually met to ratify Mr. McNulty as a board member? And is that contained in the articles and memorandum of IMMA, that someone appointed to a board, as would happen in any company, if one is put forward as a nominee to a board, that needs to be ratified at a board meeting? Now, Leader, what I want you to answer me is, has IMMA met and ratified Mr. McNulty's application to join the board of IMMA? Furthermore, what's happening, we got our letters this morning with the fact that we will be receiving registered letters tomorrow with the ballot papers to vote in what is now a sham election, with a sham candidate from the government side. And this is so important in the sense that your Taoiseach again has undermined a democratically elected House of Parliament, House of the Oireachtas. He's undermined it, and he doesn't seem to realise how serious this is. Now, I am proposing again today, two things. Firstly, by way of an amendment to the order of business, that Minister Humphreys comes in to this House and actually answers some of the questions she was asked the other day. All I want her to tell me is, who asked her to appoint Mr. McNulty to the board of IMMA? Was it the Taoiseach, or who was it? Why did she appoint him when he didn't even make an application? When he didn't even make, I'm just putting context, when he didn't even make an application to it. So I'm formally proposing an amendment to the order of business here today, that for those who are interested in the democratic process and in the integrity of this House and the Seanad by-election, no one should be fearful of this minister coming in and answering those questions. And finally, a question for you. I'm formally asking you today to convene a special meeting of the CPP, the Committee for Procedures and Privileges, to carry out an investigation, which we're allowed to do under the legislation that was passed for the banking inquiry, and gives us rights of compatibility. But I want a special meeting of the CPP for us, the elected members of this House, of all parties and those of none, to put our questions, and in no way, shape or form, I might add here, look, just to clarify this, do I hold any of the staff responsible for any of this? This is government doing, this is bad politics. This is nasty, dirty party politics. But I'm asking you, Cahir, look, directly. I'm asking you
I have no role at all in relation to this election.
Sir, you're the chair of the House. Who convenes the CPP meetings?
Well, I can call the CPP.
Yes, that's what I'm asking you to do, is to convene a CPP meeting.
But the CPP has no role in it either.
No, well, what other forum, and I'm asking you a question to help me, what other forum can I, bar here in the House, but to actually look at the procedures of the House and the procedures, the standing orders of the House that you're responsible for, and the electoral process.
This has nothing to do with the House.
Well, it absolutely is, because we're going to have an individual. We're going to have an individual sitting in this House post a by-election.
It's nothing to do with the procedure of the House.
Here, look, I have the utmost regard for you, and I don't mean to delay the House, but we're going to have, if this is allowed to proceed, an individual elected to this House who's not qualified to be here. Who's not qualified to be here.
The House has no say.
Well, I have a say, and I think all of us should have a say if we care about this House. Well, you might as well.
Senators, you well know that the
process you could put a dog in
under the
here
1947 Act.
Well,
that has gone through.
Well, I'm asking you to convene a meeting at CPP so we can discuss how an investigation can be carried out in this regard. But I've tabled an amendment to the order of business.
It's not a matter for the CPP anyway.
Well, Ciarán, I'm looking for your direction as to who it's a matter for. Because if the Taoiseach is allowed to do this, all he's doing is treating this House as his own. He's treating it as it's not his
That's
House.
not a matter for the
No, Jesus, it is.
It's not a matter for the
Absolutely it is.
Why
is it not? Do we not care about this?
It's not a matter for the Cahirla.
Well,
The House makes its own decisions here as well.
Until we get proper answers, well, I've tabled an amendment to the order of business here today,
I have no role whatsoever in relation to this.
Fine, sorry, Ciarán, but I expect the government to accept that amendment. If you want transparency, and if you want to get to the truth of this, you should actually bring Minister Humphreys in herself.